Hello, hello, everyone. Come on in. Right. Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and oil up. Tell us what oil you are using in the chat. And since we're talking about taxes tonight, go ahead and start asking some of your questions. I'm sure we'll get to them. If we don't, then we can always go back and answer them. We'll have a Q&A time at the end. Peace and calming, yay. All right, well, my name is Sarah Stutzman. Welcome back to our Monday night. So many familiar faces. Sarah and Katie, we're all on here together tonight to talk about tax time with you. I know it's super exciting, right? But I think it is super exciting because we can leverage our businesses, our home-based businesses, in a way that works for us. And so we're gonna give you the information. If you have any questions, we'll answer them at the end. We'll have a time for Q&A at the end. But I think this is really important going into 2022 as we finish up 2021. Kitty, you're hiding in your daughter's room. Abundance and stress away. And I'm feeling, I sound kind of foggy. I have like I have a cold, guys, it's a cold. My youngest had it last week. And I am drinking all the tea and Ningxia and slathering on all the thieves, pine, and oregano. I took a eucalyptus shower. That was amazing. Have you ever plugged up your shower? I love baths, but then I find like, I don't know. I feel like it takes so much time to draw a bath and then I sit there for 10 minutes because I get bored. But if you plug up your shower and you drop in peppermint and eucalyptus and some oregano, it's just going to open everything up. So go ahead and try that next time you get a stuffy nose. All right, let me share my screen with you because we do have a PowerPoint. So make sure you have a pen and paper. You can also have your phone. You can take screenshots. I'll put this in our group. I'll share this with Katie too, so she can put it in her groups as well. But let me get this started here. So that way you can have the recording. You can also have the slides to go back and listen. And I also, while Sarah's sharing at the end, I'm also going to put a link that you can fill out your email at the end, and we'll send you a complete, it's like a one-page list that looks like this on what you can deduct if you were like, wait a minute, what did she say? So you'll get a one-page list. So let's see. Okay. Can everyone see this? Okay, perfect. Okay, so tax time and your home-based business. We kept this super simple, okay? For those of you that have been doing a home-based business with Young Living, or if you are just getting started, what can you deduct? So today's discussion is benefits of a home-based business, deductions, maxing your deductions, using tracking systems that can be simple to elaborate, and then how to move forward, how to start fresh in 2022, or even maybe, you know, if you just started your business, say you just started in November or maybe September, how to go back and, you know, track that. Okay. So I got to add some humor, right? I never caught this humorous little joke, but I thought it's funny. Like the sign says, it's all theirs. But it doesn't have to be, okay? It does not have to be. Let's look at tax time as a way of leveraging our home economy, okay? I always like to bring that into perspective. Our home economy. Back in the day, right? The home was the hub, and you either worked from the home, you had a home-based business. Everyone had a shingle out. I mean, you drive through Lancaster County, probably in Berks County, and you see all these shingles out, right? Like people doing, they're selling flowers, they're selling baked goods, they're selling whatever, right? Name some things in the comment, right? People have home-based businesses, even if they do have a full-time job outside of the home. So how can we leverage that? I like this quote by Robert Kiyosaki. It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what does a home-based business look like? The current landscape is that most Americans leave their home. Okay, so fast forward, where everyone hung a shingle out, and we went to the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, to get what we needed. And now we have these large corporations where we go work for them. Okay, so everyone leaves their home to earn an income. But how can we shift our mind to use our home and our land, whatever we have, right? Our car, how can we use that as an asset while we're at work, okay? So let's just shift our mindset just a little bit. Everyone that's on here tonight, right, has a computer, has a phone. It's technology that you're using and the products you're using, and you're teaching on those products. Everyone has those, right? But if we shift a little bit, we can write those things off, okay? We're still going to have them for the luxury of having them, right? And because that's just how you communicate and do life in modern day. But we can use that to our benefit. And our home, right? We live in a home, we rent our home. However, maybe you pay a mortgage, maybe you rent, but we can use that to leverage our income as well. Because you can have areas in your home that you're teaching in, right? Whether, even if you're not teaching classes, maybe you have a designated space in your home that you're online, you're on social media. So that's like your office area that, even if it's your kitchen table, you can designate that as your office space. And we'll talk about that as a deduction as we go on. I just want you to think about a mindset shift right now, because this is the benefit of having a home-based business. Whether you are doing this full on, like this is your full income, or this is something you're starting up to have, a little more freedom with your paycheck and to be able to, offer your family healthier options, whether it's bringing in oils, or if that paycheck surpasses the oils and is allowing you to buy organic groceries or go see a nutritionist, whatever it is, whatever level that is, you are using your home economy, the things in it, to work for you. And so this day and age, it is like, it's just another tool in your tool belt to have another source of income, because then you also be able to write, the normal everyday things that you use for your business. So vehicles, right? We all have a vehicle, okay? And how can we use that in our business? Well, you can write off mileage. And you can research this even further. IRS is a little bit, it's trickier when you actually buy a vehicle just for a home-based business. You have to show more documentation. You can talk about that with your, your accountant, but mileage, absolutely. You can track your mileage. And my accountant told me that even like I go to my mom's on a Thursday, he goes, "You're talking about oils, right? You're talking about business. Anytime you're there." I'm like, "Yeah, it always comes up." He goes, "Track those miles." Anytime a conversation comes up about oils Business, you can go back through and you can track that as mileage. You talked about oils, you talked about business, track it, okay? I'm going to hold my finger because there's another thing I want to share. So what can you deduct? Everyone wants to know, what can I deduct? If it has to do with your business, Sarah's going to talk about maxing your deductions out, but if it has to do with your business, you can deduct it, okay? Food for classes. You're hosting a class, you can deduct that, okay? That's different than meals. If you go out to dinner, like say you take a business trip, or, when Brooke and I go out for date night, we always talk about business. We deduct 50% of that. Meals are 50%. You can't deduct the whole thing, but your accountant can help you with that. But save those receipts. You can deduct 50% of that. Oils for educating. I was told, and this is something that you have to, every accountant's a little bit different, but if you are, you get a new to you oil, like I added Surrender to my order this month. I've been wanting Surrender, and I just felt like I needed that this month. But guess what? I'm going to be teaching on that. I'm going to be cracking it open. I'm going to be doing an unboxing. I'm going to be sharing about it, how I'm using it. If I didn't have that oil to share about, how am I going to run my business, right? If I don't have oils and an experience to share about, how am I going to run my business if I don't have these things? So if you're cracking an oil open to give 5 drops to someone as a sample, if you are opening it up to share and educate yourself, and then to teach other people about it, that is oils for educating. I would say, and again, ask your accountant, and maybe Sarah and Katie, I don't know what you guys would say about this, but I write it off as something that I use to educate. Postage, accounting services. So my accountant reminded me one time, he's like, you forgot one thing on your taxes, my receipt from last year. So you always add in your accounting services too. So anyone that does your taxes, you add that in. Office supplies, part of your mortgage or your rent. So your accountant will be able to, you'll have to do square footage of your home and then how much space you use for teaching, for hosting classes, office space, whatever you use in your home, whatever space you use for your business purposes. They'll deduct a percentage of it. Percentage of utilities. So I save all my electric bills, my trash bill, because you need those, first of all, to function in life, right? But then you also need those for business. You're running your business out of your home. If you had a brick and mortar, you would save those for your brick and mortar store too. So a percentage of your utilities, not all of it. Cell phone bill, internet bill, alarm systems, insurance. That was new to me. So look into that. So any home insurance. I know we have a specific business insurance that we got when we first moved onto this farm for Brooke's business, but now it's for both of us. So your insurance bill, your home insurance bill. Education, if you're taking any classes. I know Katie, Sarah, Angela, I know a bunch of you guys are doing the Kristen Boss course. If you haven't signed up for it yet, registration ends tomorrow. It is incredible for $9. That $9, that's a tax write-off. That's a deduction. Anything, any kind of travel that has to do with education, your plane ticket, your hotel, like I said, meals, 50% of your meals, if you're on, travel. If you are traveling for, let's say, a family getaway, but like we've gone to reunions, we've gone up to my brother and sister-in-law's, but I book a class in there, or I make sure I'm sitting down with someone, and I don't write off the entire trip, but I write some of it off, right? Because I did business while I was on that trip. Make your business work for you. Interest on business loans. That was new to me too. I have to check into that because I have a business credit card. Maybe Sarah, you can talk about this, but I have a business credit card, and I'm going to ask my accountant if I can write off that interest because it's a business card, or one specifically that I keep for business. There are so many more things on here, but those are the ones that I thought of. any kind of copies that I made. So any receipts to Staples, Amazon, roller bottles, Etsy, if I'm downloading recipe cards that I'm sending to new members, any happy mail that I'm sending to new members, books, resources. I'm going to let Sarah take over here because she's going to share how to maximize these deductions. And maybe she has some more, and maybe Katie, you want to hop on here too. And you're thinking of some more, but these are the things that some of them we use on a normal day-to-day basis. Maybe in your home, you already have an alarm system. Now you can write it off as a tax deduction for your business. So think about everything that you use for your business and keep a record of them. What I used to do is have file folder systems and it was all categorized. Now I just throw it in a big box, all my receipts in a big box. Sarah's much more organized, so she's gonna take the lead on that. But go ahead, Sarah. Share with us, Sarah, because you and your husband have 2 home-based businesses, right? And you also have you've expanded because now you do have a center that you work out of too. But a large portion of your time is done in the home too. So you can speak highly on maxing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. And ladies, I think we're all ladies in here, but post if you have questions, like ask the questions. And if we can guide you or offer a resource or something like that, that's why we're here. And I am not an expert when it comes to this, but I have lived the entrepreneur life myself and my husband, because we both own our own businesses. We own several businesses. We just started a charitable, organization this year too, which was totally different, but similar with a lot of the deduction things. So I just want to start by telling you something that you may need to take a moment to kind of get your head around, but something that my husband had always said, which was your money is worth 30% more by spending pre-tax dollars. Okay, your dollars are worth 30% more if you can spend them pre-tax, which means pre-income tax. Okay, so what that means is that you have money coming in for your home-based business. And the more things that you can deduct, the more things that fit legally with deductions, it really makes that money go so much further, to the point that everyone's situation is different, but I'm not preoccupied with how much money I am taking and claiming as income as I am as how high I can get my expenses to be. And again, this is totally a different mindset than where I came from before teaching. And I came from having, my pension, and I came from having an additional, 401 or whatever, 403B plan that I could put more money into and just save. And, what was I actually bringing home in that paycheck? It's more, what can that money do for you, and what can that money do for your family? Like what Sarah is talking about, look at some of these things, you're part of your mortgage, part of your rent. These are things that they are fixed expenses for your family: electric, internet, cell phones, gas for your car when you're doing this. Also, mileage wise, like think about these things, that if you can use that money that you're bringing in and you can put payment or partial payment to these expenses that are fixed expenses anyway, you're actually getting 30% more for each of your dollars if you can spend it before it goes to your income. Okay. So for me, I'm not like, oh my gosh, putting money into my personal account all the time and taking my Young Living check as my paycheck. I like to keep that in my business and I like to maximize my deductions the best as possible to help my family. And all within legal guidelines. Like Sarah said, we work with an amazing a small business advisor and accountant who is based out of West Lawn, but he also does West Lawn, Pennsylvania, but he also, does clients all over the place. And his business is called Paget Business Services. So he works as our accountant, but then he also works as an advisor to us, and not an advisor in the sense of, here's your money, here's where you should go and invest it. But it's more like, oh, we have this idea. We go to him and he's a very valuable resource. I always say to have people in your circle or have people that you're connected with who are smarter than you, who are better than you at all of the things that you can learn from them. And he is a completely valuable resource to us because he has taught us how to maximize all of these things. Other things that I was thinking about, Sarah, you were talking about travel, we were talking about entertainment, right? So entertainment types of things, they go along with meals at being that 50% write-off, but think about what you could use as entertainment, right? When you're with your people, if you do something that is a team building exercise with them, that you would be able to write something like that off, right? Entertainment is huge for us. In addition, not to get overwhelmed by this, like not to get overwhelmed that there are so many different things. This should really intrigue you, and this should make you get excited that you can actually be doing more with your dollars than probably what you're looking at it now. Because I would imagine that most of you are looking at this as a paycheck, like a literal paycheck, that then you go and you do the thing with it, right? You go and you get the groceries, or you go and you do whatever it is. But think about that much larger and think about, hey, could I still help my family? Could I still help to contribute? But could I do it in these things, in ways that are also tax deductions, and just shift that money? And then maybe you use your personal money for your personal groceries, if you're kind of following where I'm going here as well, where you can maximize that. In addition, something that my accountant told me when I first started as well, now where I'm at in my rank, I have to spend 100 PV per month in order to get my paycheck. This can be different for some of you, but I can deduct 100 PV per month because that is how I literally get paid. So that 100 PV is required as a requirement on me by Young Living in order to get my paycheck. So I can deduct that amount of products each month as well. And anything that you use samples for, right? Like Sarah was talking about, she's educating on this oil. Think about anything that you have given a sample out of. Oh my gosh, just for Christmas time, I did little bottles of oregano with chamomile flowers. I've been dropping those off at people's houses for them to be able to do steams, right? I can write off that bottle of oregano oil because I'm going out, I'm giving them to actual clients as Happy Mail. I'm also doing that with potential prospects as well. So thinking about it that way, thinking about market research. I'm going to let you do a little bit of research at what could be market research and how you are running your business, or how you are educating, or what other services you provide when you are doing the education as well. So think about what could count for market research for you and what you can deduct that way. What I am going to say is that some things that I have learned along the way were for me personally, I like to keep my business money separate from my personal money completely. I have separate PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all those things. That way it's much easier for me to see where that money comes from, where that money goes, rather than having to sit and go back and forth between, oh, this was a personal transaction, oh, this was a business transaction, oh, this was a personal, oh, this was a business. Like Sarah said, I have a separate business credit card. That way, anything I know that is on there is going to also be a business expense. So just to kind of keep things organized. And like she also said, I used folders at first, like manila envelopes that I had labeled with all different types of deductions. So like depending on supplies would be one. If you had utilities, that could be another. If you had personal professional development, that could be one. All different types of categories like that. And that's where I would just kind of file in the receipts. But what I found most helpful is doing, especially in the beginning, just running an Excel sheet of your income and then also your expenses. And if you monthly just kind of sit and tally that up and are in tune with what's coming in, what's going out, I feel like it's much easier at tax time as well, even though I do rely on my accountant. Sarah has some other resources that are listed here too. A lot of people love Taxbot. I'm not familiar with Hurdler, but I'm sure it's like another similar.
Just bought out because I looked it up. I wanted to see if it was legit.
Yeah.
They merged, so it'll say
So they're together. Okay. And then QuickBooks Self-Employed is great as well. That's what we use for some of our other businesses. For me, I still do an Excel sheet. Every year I'm like, I'm going to do QuickBooks, but then I have banks that don't marry well with them because I had to start out when I wanted to get my separate business account. A lot of banks wouldn't talk to me initially, like 4 years ago, they wouldn't even sign me on as a business account. So I have this teeny tiny little bank that I now need to switch over to so that it marries well. It's happy with QuickBooks as well. So you can do file folders, you can do spreadsheets. Like I said, I work off of a spreadsheet, which is pretty extensive to have every single thing on there. And then at the end of the year, I also go back and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can show it to my accountant. Like Sarah said, then my accountant will say, oh, have you thought of this? Why isn't this on there? For us, it gets to be a little bit trickier because we have multiple businesses and we have to make sure that we're only counting those for a business rather than in different places too, because you can't double dip in those areas. But this is actually something that is really exciting when you can change your mindset and think about what can my money do for me? Like, what can this money do for me? What can this money do for my family? How can I maximize this to the best of my ability? Like I saw that Natasha had even commented about cleaning supplies. Yes, right? So you can totally write things like that off as well, because one, they're one of our products, and two, you're cleaning your area. Also going, thinking about cleaning services, hey, busy moms, like thinking about things like that, thinking about childcare, thinking about, oh my goodness, we could just keep going on about these things that are attached to your business in order for you to be able to do your business. These are things that you can definitely all write off. So
Moving forward.
Yeah, and moving forward, get your income and expenses organized. That is like the number one thing. And this held me back many times. And there were many Decembers, Januaries where I was like, holy crap, I didn't do anything but throw things into envelopes all year round. And now I need to sit and spend days figuring this mess out, right? I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but I've definitely been there, and I've been like, crap. And I just felt terrible. I like even lost sleep over it. So the sooner that you can get a system, whatever that is, that truly works for you, and just knowing that your time is money as well. And if this is not an area that you are gifted in, perhaps it would, make sense in order to hire someone who is more gifted in this area. One, to maximize your deductions, and two, to, maximize your time. And then three, just also to have like a sounding board, someone who is well-versed. I would recommend in small businesses, if you can find someone who's well-versed in network marketing, it's even better because they're harder to come by. I remember my accountant last year was like, oh, wow, you made that much money? Like, I didn't, and he deals with small businesses all the time, but he's just like, really? Like this is like still a thing, because he thought that it was just a hobby, or who the heck knows what he thought. 4.5 years ago when I got started, he was like, okay, you're going to do this. Sure. But what he really did say, he said, a lot of people that I see, make money, they burn out, and then they just stop and move on to the next best thing. But I am dedicated to do this in a sustainable way that is best for my family. And if you can help to offset those expenses in a pre-tax dollar way, and I want, like, if anything comes out of this for you tonight, I want it to be that pre-tax dollar spending. Maximizing that will change so much for you and your family. It really will. Keep your personal and business expenses separate. Try to find a system that does that. You probably have separate emails, so set up separate electronic accounts, right? Set up those separate. If you take PayPal, Venmo, like all of those, I really recommend having something separate for that. And maximizing your deductions. Sarah's going to send you a form, which is going to be really helpful, a great tool. And like we talked about before, just asking questions, doing some independent research too, and just talking to people who have done this longer than you as well. Like, I've learned so much just by talking to other people who own small businesses. Even if it's a different animal than what we do, they can still definitely tell you, oh, well, this is something that I have done, or this is something that I found helpful. Go and seek out counsel from people who have been doing it longer, quote unquote, better than you have, in order to get that guidance as well. So that's what I do. I always go to people who know more and ask them questions.
Thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
That's helpful. Katie, do you have anything to add? Any deductions, anything that you do that can offer value to our
Sure.
culture? Yeah.
So trying to think back, I had a couple things. I should have been writing them down. Yeah, like you guys mentioned too, one thing that I do before I have events at my house, I pay my girls to clean my house. It's income for them. It's one less thing for me. So I've started doing that, and I write that off. Another thing, I actually pay my one daughter. She keeps track of her hours that she works for me. Sometimes she makes me graphics. Sometimes she, I don't know. She, like, I'll just ask her to do things on the computer. She like figures things out for me. And I pay her an hourly wage, and I write that off. What else? Those are the two things there. I use Taxbot, and it did merge with Hurdler. So like right now, I still get some things that say Taxbot and some things that say Hurdler. So, but it's one thing. And there is a link if you're, I'd have to look in the virtual office, but I think there's still a link that you, as a Young Living brand partner, that you can get access to Taxbot or Hurdler, whatever, for $5 a month. That's what I pay to use it. There are free apps out there to track your mileage and to track your expenses and income. I just have found that I really like Taxbot, so I go with that. I love that at the end of the year, I can print out reports. And I have been in that boat with both of the Sarahs of like just leaving everything until tax time to like deal with it. And that is a nightmare. And it's days worth of going through receipts, going back through my Amazon purchases. And that's, oh my gosh, so overwhelming. So I have gotten better about, and having the app makes it a lot easier. You just snap a picture quick of your receipt, and it's right in there, and just document it. And it actually tracks your miles automatically if you set it up that way. So, and you can hit personal or business, and you can choose your business. I actually have a couple businesses in there also. So that it just makes it really simple. I'd have to look I should have looked before tonight. I'd have to look if there's still that link for Taxbot for $5 a month for brand partners. But if anybody's interested in that, I will look into that. That's all I can think of. That I'm here to learn as well. Taxes like overwhelm me and seem very daunting. So I'm doing what Sarah Paul said, and I'm looking what both of the Sarahs have done and learning from them. So I'm here learning with you.
Well, I love that point that you brought up to pay your girls. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I need to remember to do that because I do pay my girls sometimes too for office work that they love to help me in the office for certain things, and you can pay them. I also have I do have someone that helps me with mailing and someone that helps me with emails. So those of you that get my emails and my project broadcast texts, that is someone that I have. She's amazing and she helps me do that. So that is a business write-off as well. So as we grow and as our businesses expand, we have to ask for help, and that's okay. We can't do it all. So yeah, great points tonight. Any questions that you have, put in the comments and we'll answer those questions. I use, and I want you guys to think that, you know, this is perfect because I still come to January and I'm like, okay, we only get our taxes done in March because of Brooke's business. And so I know I have that window of time. So I take from January to March to go through, and I use QuickBooks self-employment, and that's like $10 a month. And I go through, and my accountant actually can access my QuickBooks. He doesn't have my password or anything, but he can go in and he can see exactly what I'm doing. And it's the same thing. Like I just, I have my business. It's not a business account that I have. I just have a separate checking account. That's my business. I have my PayPal hooked up to QuickBooks, that card, a business credit card hooked up. It's just a regular credit card, but it's like, I know it's designated for business. So anytime like I'm running business stuff on those accounts, and so then I go back into QuickBooks and I just click over, okay, this was business, but then you can categorize it. Was it office supplies? Was it travel? Was it postage? Was it advertising? So any, you know, I love that you can just go through and categorize. That's why I don't keep envelopes anymore, like my manila envelopes. I just put all my receipts into just a big box because I categorize on QuickBooks. And then my accountant can see it. But I do that in January. I'm always scrambling. It's goals to actually go in every month, and maybe I need to hire someone to do that for me, like, you know, an assistant to do that. And then you can also use QuickBooks, just like Taxbot. You can track your mileage too. Somehow it always gets turned off on me. And then I'm like, end of the year comes and I'm like, what? I never tracked my mileage, but my accountant is awesome. And he's like, we'll just say you had this many miles, because I can go back through and kind of estimate, you know, where I ran and all that stuff. So let me put this link, the Google Doc. Go ahead and fill that out, and we'll collect your email through there, and I'll send you that PDF of the master list. Master list, small business tax write-offs for 2021. And if you just go to Pinterest or Google, you can find some answers as well. So like Sarah said, ask a lot of questions, find a good accountant. But yeah, ask a lot of questions. So also with this link, I have some questions in there for you guys. Like, what do you need in your businesses for 2022? What kind of education do you want to hear on our Monday night brand partner calls? There's some things for you guys to check, or you can write in your own answer that'll help guide us in 2022 with our brand partner calls. So let's look at some of your questions. Where are you? Okay. Internet service, cleaning supplies, raindrop business. Yes, Rhonda, that 3-day course, which I'm glad you brought that up. Christy Zittle is coming back in January. I know Melissa posted in Sharing Young Living. I posted in our business group and in our oil group. Katie, you probably saw that as well. You probably posted it. That 3-day course is $700, and you might look at that like, oh, but you can write that off as a business expense. Plus, you're educating yourself. You're not just spending $700 willy-nilly on a new sofa. You're spending it on yourself. You're investing in yourself. You're educating yourself.
And you're going to have a return on investment because then you have skills, you have education, you have tools to add value to your business, right? So that raindrop course, 3 days, so valuable. Yes, charitable donations, raffles, vendor tables, fundraiser donations at events. Anytime someone asks me to donate a basket, I add up like, what do I think this is worth, right? And then I write that off. Gifts for team members, absolutely. If you're building under your husband as well, can my income and his just be put together under one business? Okay, great question, Lori. I'm going to answer this, and then Sarah and Katie, you can answer this as well. So I do have two separate, I'm kind of building under Brooke, but not too much. So I do most of our household products, like I order household products under his account. So I can keep it separate, and then all like business stuff on my account, like things I'm going to use for samples. But sometimes there are things that I do write off. Like if he, like, you know, he doesn't get much income from, he has a few people under him. But we're umbrellaed. We went and got an LLC. So we're umbrellaed under Wellfolk Revival. And so everything gets run through that. So that is an option. I know Melissa has an LLC as well. Sarah and Katie, do you have that? Like, so we run everything under Wellfolk Revival. So our businesses, everything's under that. Sarah, what do you do?
So I have mine set up as a sole prop.
Okay.
So I have Mindful Oil Moments, which is my business. I'm a sole prop, but then I also have my husband because I built a business under him, and he does get an income every month. Like he's an executive every month. So he's making more than the $600. If you make more than $600 in that tax year, then that's when you have to claim that income. Now, I do the same thing. If you do the math, I would deduct what he needs in order to get paid. I don't have as extensive deductions for him because I do everything through my business, and he doesn't do the things that I do for his business. I'm doing the things, which is fine. But so the way that I do it, it's almost like a wash right now. You know what I mean? Like I maximize those deductions, use that accordingly. So you can talk to your accountant, Lori, because there's different ways that you can choose to set that up. Like Sarah said, as an LLC, then that would be, you know, a great way to term it, like an umbrella organization. The way that we have it, it's just we're sole props. I may change that in the future, especially with the way that my business is run now, to do an LLC, which is a limited liability corp. But right now, that's what I choose to do. I do a sole prop, and then I just kind of give his brief income expenses, which is just basically like 2 numbers. I don't itemize it as much. So that's what we do. Katie, what about you guys?
Yeah, so I'm still on the fence about what we're doing there. I have started building under my husband. He doesn't get a huge income. I think he's like a senior star. So right now, I think I just have everything under one in Taxbot. Like it's just our Young Living business. And I don't really do too much with his right now. So we'll see where that goes in this next year. I am actively building under him. So yeah, we're still figuring that out.
Yeah, just check with your accountant, because if you're filing jointly, it's just another, it's another business, and it'd be the same. You're just going to do the same thing over, just the same thing you're doing for your business, you're going to do for his business. I would say.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you're claiming that income, I mean, it's not going to be you're claiming the income, you're claiming the expenses. It's all the same household. And if you're filing jointly, like Sarah said, then it's all going to the same place, which is what my accountant said. And I can see that Denise and I share the same accountant. And she said, that's me too. Accountant said that until his income grows much, exponentially, it's fine to do that. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put this link again, make sure you fill that out. Thank you all for joining. And I think the goal is keep as much of your money as possible, make it work for you, and spend those pre-tax dollars, right? Invest and invest and invest in yourself and your businesses to see growth in yourself and in your business. And if you haven't signed up for the sustainable, what is it called? It's Kristen Boss Sustainable Academy. Do that tonight. I think registration closes tomorrow. It's an amazing $9 investment. I just finished listening to day one.
Yeah, I just want to say this is like, it's so different because it's all about your mindset. So if you are one who is like, okay, great, I've done trainings before that told me to do all these things. And then I went and I started doing these things, and then you got tripped up and you stopped doing the things, or you didn't see the results. This really gets down to the why. I'm really excited to continue this training. I've done countless number of trainings in the past 4.5 years, and this is completely different, even though it's been one day. It's really doable, even if you're working during the day. It's just about an hour call each day. But I'm excited when I get off the call, I'm going to do my post worksheet from today. And it's very reflective, very introspective, really about just having you grow. And I would imagine finding, some pitfalls, some strongholds that have been holding you back. So if like thinking about it, it's $9, to invest in yourself and in your mindset completely. I don't know. I was blown away by things that she shared today.
I'll add to that I actually didn't get on the call today because I was doing stuff with my kids, but I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning. But just earlier this morning, I got done watching the 3 videos from last year's session or workshop. And those 3 alone, because you get access to last year's when you sign up for this year's, those 3 alone, like, gave me insight to like where I'm falling short in my business. Like huge clarity there that like my head is just like spinning with all the things. Yeah. So, and she also has podcasts, Kristen Boss podcast, that if you can listen to one thing a day, like for your business, I would highly recommend that. I'll find the link for the registration for the Social Selling Academy that we're talking about for $9, and I'll post it in the event for this call tonight. So if you haven't signed up for it, you can watch the replays up until January 1st. Then the videos come down, but you haven't through January 1st to watch them, and definitely worth your time and your $9 investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Your podcast from today, it was 1,000 deaths, and I was like, oh my word. So listen to that podcast as well. I'll put the link to that podcast in there as well. So thank you, Katie. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you all for joining. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you. Oh, that's one thing. So no call on January 3rd. We'll take that Monday off because we have a 5-Monday month in January, and we'll start up that second Monday. So we'll catch you all here in January. All right, guys. Bye.